Hi, this is David again. I want to do a video today on a request that I got to further clarify cults and their behaviors and their influences, etc. I think in reviewing this and discussing it, my brother, Randy, and I had a long discussion on what is a cult. And I have a couple of videos that basically talk about the Mormon Church and its cult activities. And I'm beginning to, in my study here, in my old age, and the last month or two, in thinking about these subjects, to come to some other kinds of possibilities. I think the word cult is an English word that is used like the greatest insult that you can say. It's kind of like giving someone the finger. The cult. So there really should be 8 or 9 or 10 different words to describe cultish behaviors or cultish activities. There's many measurements on the internet that are indicating, like the DSM-4 revised, that if you meet 7 of these 10, you're a cult. If you meet 9 of these 12, you're a cult. Well, I'm moving a little bit away from that kind of diagnosis. And you know what? I can. Because I have a master's degree. I know what original research looks like. I've done it. I have a little bit of law background and postgraduate 28 credits. And they're all in human behavior. And my expertise is in this area. So I've given a lot of thought to how I wanted to express this today. That I'm not sure there's such a thing as, quote, a cult. C-U-L-T. Now certainly we've seen Jonestown, we've seen Mormonism, we've seen Jehovah's Witness, we've seen Heaven's Gate, oh Lord, the Moonies. You know, we have these famous cults through the American society. But we've used a catch-all word that I don't think helps people to determine the importance of cult behaviors. Now, belonging to a cult, there's really, other than maybe satanic ritual abuse cults, that people can put a sign out and say, join our cult. And even satanic ritual abuse, they're underground and secret. So let me see if I can distinguish this. And I know this is going to be a little bit boring to a lot of people, but it's not to me, and that's what's important. So I'm not sure there's such a thing as a cult, that you reach a certain level of scrutiny of behavior and bam, you're a cult. Because if you remove just one of those areas and you have 7 and you need 8, then you're not a cult. See, that doesn't work for me. That's not real science. When you can manipulate 1 or 2 factors of a group or an organization and now they're not a cult, to me, that's manipulating the data. That's not really getting a true statistical and reasonable analysis of what's going on. So let me break it out, and this is my theory now, and I have a right to do that. That's what we do with a master's degree, is we come up with new ideas and new theories. I don't think there's such a thing as a cult. I think what there are cult behaviors. And in everyday life, all around us, we see cult behaviors everywhere we look, whether it's the post office or the DMV or our women's group or a service club that we belong to. We see cult behaviors of organization and paying dues and secret handshakes and hats and helmets and, you know, paraphernalia that humans love to display to show that they're a member of a certain organization. Here's what I think. I think there's cult behaviors. And as a psychologist and as a master's level person, I have the right to say, and you can throw this in the trash, I don't care. I don't care. This is for me, and anyone that wants to see it, that's great. There's cult behaviors. And some of them are very, very minor. Some of them are very, very silly. I remember helping the police association and selling donations or picking up donations, and they would give you a star. And you could put the star on the bumper or the windshield of your car, and that was a secret sign that if you get pulled over by the police, you have donated to their retirement fund, so they'll give you more of a warning than they will a ticket. Now, is that evil? I don't think it's in good taste, and I think it's criminal to a certain extent. But is it a cult? No. You didn't pay money to get out of tickets. You paid money to kind of influence it. Same way with political agendas. You give $10 to Obama or $10 to Romney or Democrats or Republicans. That doesn't make you a member of a political cult. So what I wanted to do was kind of investigate the behaviors that I see as a professional that are cultish, that are definitely linked to cults or cult behavior. They don't make, the behaviors cannot make anyone or anything a cult. They're only a cluster of behaviors. And common sense then comes to each of us as human beings, and we look at it and go, well, you know, for instance, I was thinking of the example last night. Let's say that you buy a brand new Cadillac, and you take the headlight off the Cadillac. Well, is it still a Cadillac, or it's not a Cadillac now that there's no headlight on it? Most of you and I who have common sense will say, well, it's a Cadillac without a headlight. There'd be some fanatics go, no, it's not a Cadillac anymore, there's got to be a headlight there. And that's fanaticism of many cult behaviors. So let me start off with number one. Cult behaviors, for one thing, it's exclusionary. People who are engaged in cult behaviors believe they're part of a group that no one else can get into unless they adhere to certain behaviors or donations or chanting or clothing buying or whatever. They're exclusionary. They live in a closed community. Oh yeah, they go to work, and yeah, they ride the bus, and yeah, they're out. The Mennonites and the Quakers, that's very exclusionary. But most normal people that live in a cult area of behavior do have outside contacts. They go to Dairy Queen and McDonald's and Walmart. They're normal in that way. But the exclusionary part of cult behavior is that you look at their friendships. Are they all only members of their exclusionary group? Are they told what to say, when to say it, how to vote, what underwear to wear, what to believe, what to say, where to be on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday? And are they kept busy, so they never have a chance to sit down and think, gee, does this make any sense to anybody? So exclusionary behaviors definitely are cultish. There's no doubt about it. Now, if you're in the PTA and that's exclusionary, is that a cult behavior? Yeah, it is a cult behavior, but it doesn't reach the behavior of what we want to define as a cult, which I say there's no such thing. All we're doing is stacking certain behaviors, and the more we stack and the heavier it gets, then as human beings we have to shake our head and go, whoa, I don't want my child over there, or gee, honey, you're not going to join that. These people do this. So exclusion is one of the factors. Now, what we're going to do is put together combinations, not only in the weight of the argument and the behavior, but in the combination of how many. Because that's how most American psychologists and psychology works. If you have so many of these, you're schizophrenic. If you have so many of these, you're bipolar. So many of these, you're manic depressive. So, manic depressive and bipolar, same thing. So, exclusionary rule, okay? Number two, do they dress in any way that excludes them from the rest of society? Now, are teenagers engaging in cult behaviors because they wear saggy pants and tattoos and rings in their nose? Yeah. That's exclusionary behavior, and they're dressing to identify themselves to the outside and also to the inside. Oh, they're one of us. They listen to our music. Oh, they do this. They dance this way. So yes, you have exclusionary behaviors. Then you have certain dress. You'll see it with the Jews, the Orthodox Jews, with the black hats and the aprons and the black garb that they wear. You see it with the Quakers, many times the Quaker hat, the black clothing. You see it with the Mormons wearing magic underwear. You see all kinds of Masons wearing a Mason ring. Only somebody can recognize a Mason ring. So there is a cult behavior there that starts to identify people that they can see who's in their group and they can see who's outside their group. So now if you've got two of those together, now that's a little more suspicious, that you're heading towards fanatical cult behavior. That's what I'd rather call it, fanatical cult behavior, than being in a cult. Let's take a look at some of the other kinds of behaviors that are scrutinized. First of all, do you believe you have special, or does your group believe they have special ends to God, to Jesus, to Muhammad, to Buddha, to astral projection and numbers, astrology? I don't care what you call it, but it's an end to the other world, the world before here or the world after. Seances, Ouija boards, chanting, KKK robes, and those kinds of things are basically all cult behaviors. So if you stack those together, now it's getting a little bit more heavy, and now it's getting a little bit more suspicious. Now we're heading towards fanatical cult behaviors. One of the things in these organizations is they believe, they know God, or God is going to save them, or they're getting the Heaven's Gate people all thought they were going to jump on a rocket ship and fly out of here and go to heaven. Whatever it was, 30 of them died. Jim Jones killed 100 or 900 and some with his magic Kool-Aid. We see this all the time, that the behaviors the cult behaviors start to raise to a fanatical point. One of the other combinations of cult behavior is, do people engage in activities that they ordinarily wouldn't engage in unless they belong to this group? Would they murder someone as an individual? Oh no. But if God told them, or their priest or their prophet or someone else said, oh, we got to kill this person, then they do it. That is outside their boundaries and their limitations. The cult behavior now has become deadly. That for instance, the Mormons in the Mountain Meadows Massacre and the Hans Mill riot, and you see all of these other kinds of things where people have been killed. The Danites with the Mormons and Brigham Young's private guard, and Porter Rockwell killing people for Brigham Young. You see all of these fanatical things that human beings will do in the name of God or a prophet or Moses or their leader, but they wouldn't do it on their own. Now you're getting cult behaviors that are rising to a very, very heavy, and I begin to believe dangerous. As a psychologist, I say dangerous behavior. I'm not going to raise it to a cult, but I'm going to raise it and stack those behaviors, and then you judge for yourself. Look around yourself, look at society, look at your kids. For instance, take a look at a fraternity or sorority in a college environment. Is that a cult? Well, it has many cult behaviors, but to say that it is a cult, we don't know what that is. All we know is cult behaviors. So if people end up dead, if people end up killing and being killed, now we're reaching levels of behaviors that, one as a human being and two as a professional, are way outside the bounds and normalities of society. They're dangerous behaviors. Now let's take a look at a few other kinds of cult behaviors. One is black and white. If you have a group or individuals who are adults, black and white, yes or no, you're in, you're out, it's right, it's wrong. That is a cult behavior. Now, is a kindergartner a cult behavior when they go, I want to go to the show or I'm going home? Well, don't you want to go to, no, the show or home? Yeah, that's a cult behavior, but the other behaviors are not intermingled in there, so that doesn't become dangerous. They throw themselves down and flop their arms and their feet and protest, but that's not dangerous. So yeah, it's a cult behavior, but it's not stacked. It's not a, what I would call Maslow's hierarchy of needs, human needs. I'm kind of building a new theory that there's no such thing as a cult. All it is a pyramid that never touches. It's just behaviors. Everybody in this society right now wants people to say, oh, it's going to touch. See, it's a cult. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say they're getting closer to closer, and it's infinite in its weight and seriousness, but they never touch. So you can't say this is a cult. I don't believe that. I believe you can say That's a cult behavior. That's a cult behavior. These people do this, they do that, they do this, they do that. And I find it so dangerous that they've stacked way too many cult behaviors into their group. So, you do see that this is kind of a new theory. It's kind of a new way of looking at cults. It was discussed extensively today on the military, the United States military being a cult. Do they engage in exclusionary? You bet they do. Do they put badges and helmets and special garb and uniforms on themselves? You bet they do. Do they believe in God and country over family? You bet they do. They move away from their families. And do they believe in killing in the name of their country? Yeah, they believe that. So when you take the U.S. or other militaries, I'm not picking on the U.S. military here, but all military has many, many dangerous cult behaviors. We saw the Muslims knock down two buildings there in New York City, the trade centers, and 3,000 Americans died because they thought it was in the name of God. It's jihad for the Muslims. They were the infidels, and they wanted to wipe us off the face of the earth. So yeah, is that cult behavior? Yeah, it is. Can you call the Muslim religion a cult? I can't, not anymore. After giving this some thought, I say they're engaged in very dangerous cult behaviors that are deadly. And yeah, they dress a certain way, they treat women a certain way, yeah, and they have certain punishments, cutting people's fingers off and hands for stealing and beheading, whatever. So I'm not going to say it's a cult, but I'm going to say they're very dangerous, stacked cult behaviors there. And I'm saying in this video that basically, as I espouse my new theory, that there has to be a point in my theory where maybe those pyramid lines do not match. They run parallel infinitely. But once they run so close in a certain area, I gotta say, whoa, whoa. It may not be a cult, but it is so damn dangerous. I don't want me or my family or any influence around me. I don't want that. So I don't have to come to the holier than thou, oh, you're a cult and they're not, so I'm going to be with them. I'm going to say that if you stack enough of these behaviors in front of me and my family, I'm going to say, whoa, after a certain point, I don't want that many cult behaviors around me. So some of you are going to have different standards. Some of you are going to say, well, 2 or 3 exclusionary or killing, that's enough for me. And then there's going to be others say, no, I want 9, 10, 11, or 12, and maybe some of them go, no matter what you do, it's never going to be a cult. So that's a subjective kind of evaluation. So we've gone over several things that basically are cult behaviors. And I think another one is basically conversion. Cults want your money, and cults want new members for new money. And when you see those combinations, those are cult behaviors. You can stack them right on the other behaviors that I've spoken about. When people knock on your door and try to say, you know, your religion is an abomination, and we're here to take your money for the rest of your life, and we need new members, every member a missionary, and here's a watchtower, or here's, you know, the Catholic Christopher, St. Christopher on your neck. Those are cultish behaviors. They want your money. They don't give you money. They want your money out of your pocket to go to them. And then they don't have usually any accounting of that money. That's another cult tactic and behavior, is they take your money and you don't know where it went. And suddenly you're driving around in an old car with bald tires, and the head of the cult, he or she's got, you know, a new Learjet, and they're putting new wheels on it every day. That's cult behaviors. They want new people, and they want your money. Those are very important, trying to indoctrinate others to believe. They will also have a tendency to say, we're the only true cult, if you want to use that word now, in the world. No one else knows God the way we do, and God has a special way for you to get into heaven, and we'll tell you what that is if you give us your money and you bow your head and say yes. So they have a tendency to wear funny clothes, to identify themselves in groups and to the outside world. And there's a little bit of a persecution complex, with most cult behaviors because they're usually repulsive to normal people. Normal people don't go around and knock on their neighbor's door and say, your religion sucks, join mine. That ain't normal. None of us go around doing that. But cult behaviors do that. And they'll put flyers on your windshield and on your car, and they'll vote in blocks, and they'll try to control. Now this is one of the things that is very, very common. Again, I'm adding cult behaviors in this pyramid, is sexual rigidity. No matter what, they're going to try to control your penis and your vagina. They're going to tell you what to say, what to do, who to love, when to have sex, how many kids to have, how to train your kids, and what behaviors are appropriate, what aren't appropriate, and they are the authority because God has told them, and now they're telling you. So you'll always see cult behaviors usually centered around sexual behaviors. And the no-nos, and never the yes-yeses, it's always the no-nos. So they're looking for control, they're looking for power, they're looking for intimidation, they're looking for guilt, and they're looking for people who are vulnerable. And you'll see this. You'll see in most cult behaviors, they're engaged in by young people. You'll see people anywhere from 16 to maybe 28, 30 years old who are very impressionable, who are still trying to figure out who they are and what life is all about and how do they fit into it, and their relationships and marriage and their gender identity and so many things that happen there in that young period of a person's life. And when an older person comes along and puts their arm around one of these vulnerable people and says, oh, I know the way, God has told me to come and talk to you so that I can help you get at Jesus points and get into heaven, these young people are inclined to go, oh good, baptize me or ordain me or put your robes on me. The KKK is an excellent example of occult behaviors. There they have the clothing, they have the exclusionary, it's black and white, yes and no. They kill people and they have political agendas and religious agendas. You see all of that in the KKK, and to me that's too high. Those are people I don't want to be around, or my family. I'm not going to call them a cult anymore. I'm going to say that they have obsessive cult behaviors that are dangerous. Obsessive cult behaviors that are dangerous. So, the other thing you're going to see with cults usually is a demeaning of women. I'm not sure why. I think it's because they're more vulnerable to societal pressures, because they have babies, they have to stay home and take care of the babies, and they don't get as good an education, and they're discriminated against, and of course they're centered around human sexuality, giving the babies and taking care of them, etc. So one of the other things you'll see as a cult behavior is groups of people that treat women as second or third class citizens. They're either baby machines and or sex objects. That is indicative of a cult behavior. So if you stack that on, now you're getting to a point, and your point may be different than mine, of when you finally say, whoa, that's enough. They may not be a cult, but they are engaged in so many cult behaviors, I want nothing to do with them. They're taking my freedom away, my independence, my ability to think for myself, and they're into punishing. You'll see this with cult behaviors extensively. If you cross the leader, or you cross his or her policies, or you cross the policies and procedures of the group, it's punishment. And boy, it's harsh punishment. It's everything from shunning to physical harm. It can take any form, and you'll see that in cult behaviors, that the females always take it on the nose first, and the punishment is always there. Now the other thing you'll see with cult policies and philosophies is perfection. They will always say, we want you to be perfect. The Mormons will say, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. And you'll see other Jim Jones and others, at Waco, David Koresh, he believed he was Jesus, and so you don't cross Jesus, and you respect, and he intimidates, and he has free reign. It's always interesting that cult behaviors allow the men to screw anybody. If you're the leader of a cult, man, you can have as many wives as you want, they can be as young as you want, And you don't have to account for any of the money you take in, and you don't have to account for your sexual behavior, and you only have one law, God's law. And that's, of course, the leader's interpretation of God's law. So you'll see that as a cult behavior. You'll also see secrecy. You'll never, hardly ever see cult behaviors that don't have some source of secrecy to them. Satanic ritual abuse will have certain signs, tokens, and symbols. They'll cut off the index or the pinky finger at the first joint, which is someone in a very high position of satanic rituals. Most people don't know that. Usually they're butchers or they're attorneys or they're doctors or some other kinds of professional person in a satanic ritual abuse cult. They're designed to cause fear, intimidation, punishment, and they know God, you don't. If you follow them, they'll let you come into God with them. They want your money so that they live well. They want your daughters so they can have sex with them. And they have secrets that you can't hear about. Now, it's like Masonry. The Masons of the United States, they've been around for 3,000 years, maybe more, having to do with secret signs, tokens, symbols, aprons, and dress, and chants, and stars, and the all-seeing eye, and oh God, it goes on and on. And most of the other behaviors in cults will spin off of a lot of Masonry secrets. And so they have secret handshakes, and they have secret rings. They have certain things that they say. The secret sentence in the Masons is there no help for a poor widow's son? So if you're a Mason and you hear somebody yell that, number one, you know they're a Mason. Number two, you know they're in trouble. Number three, you are obligated by law and consecrated promises to go help that person. So you get these secrets. The Mormon Church has them. The Catholic Church has them. A lot of their exorcism rituals are somewhat secret. They're somewhat secret. And certainly much of the history of, again, the Mormons and the Catholic Church is hidden, and it's sanitized. Some of the things the Catholic Church has done historically are an abomination, and certainly the Mormon Church too, and I'm sure the Muslims and the Buddhists. They're all engaged in killing people in huge quantities. So, in summary, what I'm saying is I've come to a new realization in my life. You can take it or leave it, I don't care. I don't think there's a cult. I don't think there is a cult. I think there's cult behaviors that we can identify. And just because one person engages in one cult behavior, a 5-year-old that says he wants to go home or to the movies, and that's a black and a white, you can't, or I can't, say he's in a cult. But that is a cult behavior. It's black and white. So if you take these and write them down, which I will do after I see my own video here, of what these behaviors that are recognized and accepted as cult behaviors, then you and I have to take a look at how much crap has to be piled on to cult behaviors before we go, whoa, that's too much for me. That's an organization that is way out there in left field. I don't want to be around them. The people are strange, the people are weird, and they are a danger to me and probably to society. So, no cults, but much cult behavior. How much are we willing to put up with as a society? I don't know. How much you're willing to put up with? I don't know. I'm not willing to put up with too much because, again, cults have a tendency to block your thinking. You think, act, say, talk, walk, eat, dress like they tell you to do. You're not allowed to think independently, and you're not allowed to have a lot of time to yourself. The reason that cults cluster their people together and keep them day and night in meetings and training and singing and dancing and chanting and burning crosses is because if someone gives you time to sit down and think, you go, whoa, this doesn't make any sense. Why am I involved in this? And suddenly they lose your money and your fees and whatever. So just for your information, I don't think there's cults. I think there's cult behaviors, and I think they can raise to a level of certainty and danger that can be a threat to families and to society. Thank you very much.